The Genius Prince's Guide to Raising a Kingdom Out of Debt. Okay, what the hell is it with needlessly long anime titles? More and more of them have been entire sentences, and now it's just getting silly. Putting that aside, Genius Prince is actually pretty good. Unsurprisingly, the biggest comparison has to be the currently airing Realist Hero, as they both delve into geopolitics, economics, diplomacy, and both have an overworld with a circular city. Unlike Realist Hero, which started off with piss-poor writing that somehow got worse with each episode, to the point of somehow actually condoning slavery, Genius Prince actually does these elements some justice. More importantly, it's just good, light-hearted fun. The prince wants a cushy life, not doing anything, but is the ruler of a poor kingdom. Therefore his goal is to build up the wealth of the kingdom in order to sell it and comfortably retire while keeping the dutiful facade. By building up the wealth of his kingdom, however, he ends up making more work for himself and gets involved in all kinds of shenanigans. The first couple episodes in particular has a neighbouring country invade, in which the prince hopes for a quick stalemate and sue for peace in order to avoid a costly war, except his cunning and foresight end up giving him a decisive victory, forcing him to go along with his general's eagerness and advance into Marden. Unexpectedly capturing the gold mine, Wine then has to defend it from an overwhelming force. This brings me on to the second draw of the anime, watching Wine completely out-strategize his opponents in understandable but no less brilliant schemes.
I love it when a plan comes together.
Notice how in just these first two episodes the anime's established exactly what kind of tone, world and characters we have, while keeping the engagement of the viewer. This is very much unlike shows which use long expositions or skippable paragraphs to fill in the viewer. Have I said how much Realist Hero utterly fails in his world-building and character writing? Speaking of characters, another big plus for the Genius Prince is the great relationship between Wine and Ninim. In front of others, they both have to act refined and composed, avoiding anything that would harm his reputation, which could then lead to more hijinks. Behind closed doors, however, the two speak as equals and frequently joke with one another. Her role, aside from secretary, advisor, bodyguard, soldier and a couple other hats presumably, is to get the prince calmed down and actually do his royal duties. More than functionally, however, the anime shows just how meaningful their relationship is. Both will go out of their way for the other, especially when they're insulted. And to re-emphasise the classic writing advice, show don't tell, none of this is explicitly stated, as their love is actually shown just through their interactions. The anime does play around with a couple other love interests, but ultimately wants just to rope Wine into her schemes to take control of the Empire, while the other is there to establish a trustworthy ally in Marden. The latter, after a transformation from warrior leader to pretty girl in dresses and frankly bizarre reveal, flat out rejects Wine. So yes, ring the bells and beat the drums, for this anime doesn't have a harem. No requiring a checklist of female characters, no love triangles, no love at first sight moments. Afraid there's a couple eye-rolling gags and a 2-minute bath scene, but thankfully they don't include any face in chest moments, walking in on women naked moments, or guys peeping in on bathing women moments. God, I don't know why they're tropes. I suppose that's more pointing into the current state of anime rather than praise for Genius Prince, but it's important to state just how good, if not great, anime can be without mindless fanservice. I mean, every anime under the sun has fanservice adaptations of characters. Seriously, go to DeviantArt and type literally any anime character's name, and you're guaranteed to find incredibly well-drawn pictures of either cute romantic stuff, or every perverted kink you can think of, and plenty of others you haven't. Also, for some bizarre reason, it's where you'll find the largest collection of unpublished literature and new author examples. You'd even find entire chunks of novels there, including a pretty good one that seemingly was written by some kind of crop enthusiast. Shameless plug over, I'd say aside from an incredibly dumb scene where the princess somehow convinces an entire city's population to march out of the walls when there are several armies poised to attack, the only mark I can say against the anime is, well, its animation. While it holds up for most of the show and has nice, delightful battle animations, several scenes demonstrate the studio clearly lacked the funding for decent animation. For instance, the treadmill pavement, the riders moving at warp speed, or the amazing spastic horses of Soul Jest. As I said, however, it holds up for most of the show, and avoids having any static shots. Also, unless it is X-Arm or Berserk 2016 levels of god-awfulness, I consider animation quality a minor point, as the writing is what makes a show, and the writing in The Genius Prince's Guide to Raise a Kingdom Out of Debt is pretty good, even if the quality of its own title absolutely sucks. So, check it out. And now, the music shall fade out.